Happy New Year, friends. As usual, if you're watching the replay, please put hashtag replay. Leave a comment. Let me know that you were here. Let me know this was of value to you. I'd love for you to join in the conversation. You guys know I'm always happy to come back and talk to you, answer your questions. So feel free, if you can't be here live with us, to leave a comment and a question, and I will be happy to get back to you. Please forgive me for being a little late this morning. Full transparency, I am dealing with a pretty serious migraine right now. I had to take some medicine overnight, and that medication has caffeine in it, which I don't do, but it helps my migraines when I'm desperate. It was bad enough. So I did not go to sleep till 7:30 this morning. I literally got up to come talk to you guys today. So I'm going to do my best to give you my 100%. And I apologize if my energy is not its norm. So, but I'm here, and we are in a new year. And before we dive into our topic, I just wanted to say that I've been polling you guys. I've been polling you, asking you, how can I help you in your business? How can this group, My Education for You, help you best? And I've asked it in several different ways, and it's become quite clear to me that what you guys are asking for is, how can I be a profitable photographer? How can I make a living doing what I love? And I think that's what we all want, right? That's what we all hope for. Unless this is a hobby business for you, this is what we all hope for. And I can absolutely help you with that. So I've got a huge list of topics that we're going to talk about this year. I would love to hear more from you about what specifically you'd like help with to help you be a profitable photographer. Things like more on pricing, psychology behind pricing, how to talk to your clients in a way that helps them see value and having them want to invest with you because of that. So be sure, guys, leave comments, send me a direct message, whatever I can do to help you guys with this topic, I want to do that for you. So just with the feedback I've been getting, that's what we're going to focus on this year in this group. We're going to talk more about being profitable and productive photographers, because those two things go hand in hand. Okay, and there's so much that we can learn to be able to not just survive, but thrive with our business. That's so important. Okay, so with that being said, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Becca Boschich. I'm a photographer, an artist, and a creative business educator based in Orlando, Florida. And if you are returning, welcome back. It's great to see you. So today we are talking about goal planning for profit and productivity. Always, it never fails. When January hits with a new year, everyone feels refreshed and renewed. They feel like there's this clean slate, and they are ready to start creating some changes in their life and in their business, and they start setting these goals. Sometimes they'll call them New Year's resolutions, right? What I want to encourage you to do is to shift your mindset, because this whole idea of the new year, new me, is really a creation made by man. This whole timeline of 12 months and dividing time into years, that's created by man, right? But you can change your life and your business any day, any week, any month, any hour that you want to. And I want you to really take that to heart, because what I see that happens most of the time when people plan out during their new year is that they get really excited and motivated at first. And within just a few weeks into January, you see that motivation start to wane. And then people don't get these goals completed that they had once really hoped for. And there's a way to work around that so that you stay motivated, but not only stay motivated, so you set yourself up for success with completion of your goals, but also to be profitable. Okay, profit is something I don't think a lot of people think about when they're laying out their goals. I mean, ultimately, yes, we want to make enough income so that we are thriving, that we can have a roof over our head, food on the table, all the necessities. But I don't think that's typically what people are focusing on when they're setting their goals. And you don't have to have every single goal be a financial goal, but for our purposes today, we're talking about having a thriving business, right? So we're going to talk about how you can goal plan for profit and productivity, so you can make sure that you're not only planning appropriately for income, but that you are actually reaching these goals, so that you're setting up a plan for success, okay? So I see a few of you have signed on. Say hello. Oh, I missed the comments. Yeah, there's Millie. Yes, psychology behind pricing is a good one. I love psychology and marketing. That's definitely something that we're going to talk about. And Happy New Year to you, Millie. It's good to see you. Okay, so let's dive in. All right. So as usual, if you guys have any questions, comments, please post them below and I'd be happy to join the conversation with you. Okay. So I want to give you my simple system that's going to help you have a productive and profitable year. Okay. And like I was saying, not all goals need to be profitable, but for our purposes today, that's what we are focusing on. Okay. First things first, whenever I am getting ready to set up my goals, I start with my needed income, okay? You need to know what your needed revenue per year and per month is, okay? What is baseline? What is profitable? If you don't know those things, guys, I have a video on pricing for profit for photographers. It's on YouTube. It's in the Facebook group. That is fully accessible to you. In 30 minutes, you will know exactly what you need to know to be charging for each client, what you should be making per month. 30 minutes is super simple. It is a very valuable tool. So if you have not watched that, go and watch that because that is going to give you so much needed information to help you utilize this information I'm giving you today and be successful with it. Okay. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is we are in an industry where our income ebbs and flows. We have seasons, right? We have busy season, we have slower season. So our income is not the steady paycheck as if you were working in most 9-to-5 situations, correct? So with that, trying to, budget anything financially can be a little bit overwhelming for some, but that situation with a variable income is why I have stopped yearly goal planning and have begun 12-week or quarterly goal planning where I set up benchmark goals that allow me to make my overall needed income for the year and focus on what's going on in that particular quarter, okay? So I look at a broad overview of the year and what I want or need to make income-wise, but when I sit down and goal plan, I go by quarter, all right? And I do this also. Well, there's two reasons. This allows me to focus on the right revenue streams at the right time to be as profitable as possible. Okay, that's the first reason. The second reason I've switched to 12-week goal planning is because statistically, when we plan out yearly instead of quarterly, we actually work the hardest in the last 3 months of the, last 3 months than we do in the entire year. And why is that? It's because we got a deadline. And we put off things throughout the year. We're like, oh my gosh, I want to get this done before, December 31st. And that happens because deadlines that are 12 months away don't give a lot of motivation for action. But when you treat 12 weeks like 12 months instead, you're going to be amazed at just what happens. Your productivity skyrockets, and so does your profitability because of that. Okay. So we're going to be focusing on that. Let me make sure I can see your all's comments here. Hold on a second. Hey, Keith, how are you? Good to see you. Okay, perfect. So you guys may not be very familiar with 12-month planning versus, 12-week planning versus 12 months, but we're going to talk about that today. But it's been so much more effective for me. I switched to that last year. I read a book called The 12-Week Year. Do I have it here? I thought I set it aside for you guys. And forgive me, I'm forgetting the author off the top of my head, but it's called The 12-Week Year. I learned a ton from that. It talks a lot of the statistics and studies that show the benefits of planning 12 weeks instead of 12 months. But again, I'm still looking at an overall 12-month plan, but I'm breaking things down into 12 weeks for a more laser-focused result. Okay? April, you're just in time. You're not late at all. You're great. No problem. All right. So I start off with, hold on. Yeah. I start off with how much needed income I have. That's what we talked about. So again, if you have not figured that out per year, per month, what is profitable, what is baseline, go back to the pricing for profit for photographers video, okay? Secondly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my sources of income, okay? What are my sources of revenue, okay? Mine personally are weddings, portraits, styled shoots, and education. So I have 4, okay? You may have 1. Yours may just be wedding photography, or maybe yours is wedding photography and mini sessions. It could be a number of things, but what I want you to do is write down your sources of revenue, okay? I'd like you to figure out what is your current revenue to date for each source. Look at your last 12 months. If you're not sure, maybe you're a new photographer, then look at what your needed income is, okay? Again, going back to that pricing for photographers video, super important, okay? Next, what you want to do is you want to evaluate which revenue stream is the most important this quarter, okay? Are you in mini session season? Is it booking season? Which one needs the primary focus this quarter, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to choose an offer focus that's based on what revenue stream is most important this quarter. And I don't want you to choose more than 2, guys. Any more than that, you're not going to get things done. Only choose 2, okay? You may have other responsibilities to attend to during the quarter, but your offers related to the revenue stream, that's what's most important this quarter, and that's your primary focus, okay? Any questions so far? Hey, Corey, good to see you. Millie says, I just purchased a goal planner and was thinking to break it down quarterly. Millie, yes, it made such a significant difference for me this past year. Highly recommend that. All right, and guys, for the few that are coming late, I was just mentioning I have a pretty bad migraine. I'm doing okay right now. I'm trying my best to give you guys my all. So if I'm a little off today, that's what's going on. Okay. I know it already feels like things aren't going as smoothly as it normally does, but it's okay. I'm here. We're getting through it. So we're good. All right. So, hold on a second. Okay, so we evaluated what revenue stream is most important this quarter. Like I said, is it mini session season? Is it booking season? What season are you in? Another good thing to think about too is what season are you in personally? If it is August of the year and you have kids that are going back to school and you guys have had them off all summer, it takes a few weeks to get them back into the new routine. So that time of year, beginning of that quarter, may not be the best to launch something new. Make sense? So not only do you want to look at what is seasonally going on in your business, what is seasonally going on in your life? Okay, that's very important because we're trying to set ourselves up for success, right? So those are things that you need to take into account, all right? So again, we're choosing an offer focus based on what revenue stream is most important this quarter, choosing no more than 2, okay? So for example, maybe you're a wedding photographer. You're probably wanting to get clients booked throughout the year. So that very well may be a focus each and every quarter, okay? But maybe you offer mini sessions in the spring and summer. So during those quarters, that might be your second offer. Make sense? Again, try not to have no more than 2, guys, because the more offers that you're trying to focus on, the less likely you're going to have success. If you can whittle it down to 1, that's even better. I have too many income streams to be able to do that, to where I can only focus on 1 thing at a time. So I always have 2, and there's nothing wrong with that. Totally doable. It's once you get past that 2 focus point where it's just really hard to get things done in this 12-week or 90-day period. Okay? Any questions? And then we had a couple more comments. Okay, cool. Hold on, guys. Okay, so this is how you determine what you should be focusing on each quarter so you can create appropriate goals to be profitable, all right? Look at your revenue streams. Decide what quarters are most important to focus on those streams, and then you'll know what to build your goals around to bring profitability to your business. This makes you much more productive, which brings more profit, okay? So you're creating laser focus on a particular offer at the right time of year, the right season in your life, and that results in much more profitability and productivity, okay? So you might be saying, okay, that's great. I know what to focus on, but how do I make sure I'm making the income I need while I'm in a seasonal business? And that answer is creating standards for success, okay? So for example, let's say your needed income is, let's do some easy numbers, okay? So let's say it's $12,000 a year, okay? And you charge $1,000 a wedding. So you know that you need to book at least 3 weddings per quarter, right? Because that's 12 a year. 3 weddings per quarter. Okay. So booking 3 couples this quarter will let you know that you're on the right track. All right. That is the success standard that you can refer to make sure you are on the right track. Okay. Once you've got your success standards, then you can set up your goals to make sure profitability becomes reality. All right. So to do that, we create what's called benchmark goals. Okay. Benchmark goals are the big picture to-dos that will allow you to focus on your offer focus all quarter long. Okay. So if this quarter's offer focus is wedding photography, then your benchmark goals might be consistently blogging content that focuses on your portfolio and wedding tips and advice for couples. Okay. It might be creating a social media strategy that focuses on speaking to your target audience. Okay. It might be updating your website this quarter. It might be focusing on networking and vendor relationships. Okay. So once you figure out those big picture to-dos, your benchmark goals, then you're going to create actionable steps so you can make sure to get those things done. Guys, it's one thing to come up with goals, one thing to come up with plans, but you've got to make steps, actual steps within that plan for it to work, and you have to follow through with it. Okay. There are so many studies that talk about how people are much more successful when they physically, not on a computer, physically write out goals. The people that are most successful from that group are the ones who review their goals regularly. We are living in a digital age. There's so much benefit to that, but I'm telling you, look up the studies. Physically writing things down creates this like magic within our mental brain where it just makes things happen. So, highly encourage you to do that. Okay. So when you have your benchmark goals and you break them, you're going to break them each one down into steps. Okay. So for example, if you're a wedding photographer, maybe you're going to blog 4 times a month, once a week. Okay. Maybe you'll attend 2 to 3 networking events this quarter. All right. Maybe you're going to plan to post 3 times a week on social media. Okay. Guys, this is how you plan for profit. All right. This is what will make you financially productive. But before you get started, you need to ask yourself, is this realistic? Do I have too many goals? Is this making me feel too overwhelmed? Okay. It's okay to change your course if need be so you don't burn out. All right. So side note, now not all of your goals or success standards may be directly finance related. Maybe you are a wedding photographer, but you also would like to focus on education this year. Okay. Though that's not directly related to, creating income directly. This impacts your profitability because education regarding your skills, both technical and business, that allows you to be a better photographer and a better business person. And that translates into more revenue because you can raise your prices. Okay. So the things that you want to do is make sure that you review the quarter before you move on to planning the next one. You want to find out what worked, what didn't, what were some successes, what were some struggles. Okay. Get an accountability partner, right? It doesn't have to be someone that does the same business as you, but I personally think it sure does help. It sure does help when you have an accountability partner who understands where you're coming from, may understand your daily struggles and frustrations, someone who can celebrate your wins with you. An accountability partner will add fuel to the fire to get things done. So if you do not have an accountability partner and you're looking for one, drop a comment below. Let's find you one. We've got plenty of people here that can do that for you. So guys, if you need that, this is a resource for you, okay? But what I ultimately want you to do is to ask yourself if what I'm doing today is getting me closer to where I want to be tomorrow. That's what you need to ask yourself, okay? This is a lot in just a few minutes, but that's it, guys. That is how you plan for profitability in your photography business. There's several steps, but it's not hard. It's not. And I guarantee you, just try this out for 90 days. Just try it out for the first 12 weeks, okay? And you will see a huge shift in your business. One thing that you can consider too that I just want to mention is that if you do like literal 12-week planning, because I like to do 12 weeks versus the quarter, because I'm kind of type A. Duh. And I like things to be even. And there's some months where we have more days than others, and it kind of throws me off. So I do things by 12 weeks. But when you do 12 weeks, if you take a week off after that, you work another 12 weeks, take a week off, 12 weeks, 1 week, 12 week, 1 week, that adds up to 52 weeks. And someone in my life who has given me so much great advice over the years, who does the same kinds of planning, has told me that what she does is she does a 12-week hustle and bustle for her business, and then she takes a week off. And then she dives back in, takes a week off. So I encourage you, if you're not able to do that, because again, we are in a seasonal business, if you can take a few days off in between these 12 weeks or in between your quarters, that helps you start refreshed and renewed too. Planning some time to plan for the next quarter, that needs to be on your calendar, guys. And that will help you in tremendous ways. Do I have any questions? Let me know. Did this help? Does this encourage you? Is this a different way of planning than you are used to? I guarantee for a lot of you it is. Let me know. And guys, thank you for hanging in there with me today. I know like my energy level is not the same with a migraine. Makeup definitely helps though. Still a little more pale than I'd like to be, but you know, I'm a little vampire, so it's just gonna be that way either way. All right, so you see, I'm not seeing any comments, any questions. Corey says, I do it in 28-day blocks and coincides with my school schedule, but doing it that way instead of monthly has helped a lot. Awesome. I think when you do things in smaller blocks versus like this whole year planning, we have consistent motivation. Again, when you have goals set across 12 months, there's a lot of time between January 1 and December 31st, and we tend to put things off. We tend to not feel a sense of urgency. Again, you need to look at your overall needs and wants for the year, but you need to break that down into bite-sized pieces because that gets you more laser focused, more motivated, and you get more done. And when you get more done, you're more productive, you create more profit. And this system that I talked about today helps you to focus on making sure that you are choosing the right offer focuses to help you not just survive, but thrive. If you are not profiting in your business, guys, it is a hobby. It's not a business. If that's what that is for you, that's fine, but that's not what we focus on talking about here, okay? We're talking about having thriving businesses that puts food on the table, puts a roof over your head, and lets you have the life that you deserve, okay? Key says you explained it quite well. That's awesome. Corey says, on that note, as a creative that isn't a photographer, how would you suggest the income planning for a graphic designer since job income varies from job to job? My husband used to be a graphic designer, Corey, so I know what you're talking about. When you're working with variable income, it's a lot more challenging. So if you are in a situation where it's seasonal, well, for one thing, when you have variable income, I'm a big proponent for basing your budget on income you've already made versus what you think is going to come in because it varies. So things like having an emergency fund and then having, you know, a couple months worth of bills in your checking account to pay the bills from, that's a whole other talk though. But that's a direction for variable income that I go in. I hope that helps, Corey. It's not really going deep into like goal planning, but as far as like planning out your finances for income planning, that's what I really lean heavily towards. Because again, my husband was a graphic designer. We both have full-time businesses with variable income. He no longer does that. He has a different business now, but it's still a variable income. And that's tricky. It is tricky. So Millie says, when you write it down, how do you do it or organize it on paper? Oh, Millie. Girl, you're going to go down a rabbit hole. Can you guys hold on for a second? I'll show you. Hold on. Be right back. I'm coming back. Okay. I try to keep things simple for you guys. I don't want to overwhelm you, but because you asked Millie, I went into Canva and I made my own graphics. and layouts for it. So here's mine. So I have this little chart that I made, and one section has my revenue streams written down. I have my quarterly focus for each quarter because I actually sat down and looked at all that and decided what I need to focus on for each quarter. Then I have my goals written down. And this is more of a quarter one at a glance and success standard thing. So I'll have I'll have this printed out for each quarter, but this top part stays the same because it has my revenue streams listed down, my quarterly focus, my goals, and then my quarter one success standards. After that, I have my benchmark goals written down. And then I have quarter one at a glance. So for me, quarter one, I've got blog 6 times a month. I'm going to be blogging 3 weddings, one that pertains to wedding content, 1 for session content, a couple education. I'm going to be blocking 1 day a month to prep for that. I've got a whole list. So this I have in front of me at all times. I get distracted very easily, guys. I need to have things written down and in front of me at all times, okay? I also have a social media content calendar that I created too. This has got my social feed, my stories content, my Facebook group content calendar. And then I have a themed work days calendar because I personally block off days to get this stuff done. So I'm not doing like, okay, well, I'll write a blog post for this week. Next week, I'll write another one. No, I sit down in one day and I'll write them all out for the month. Okay. That makes you much more efficient with your time. You get really laser focused on the subject at hand and you become more productive. You're getting more done in less time with theme days. I hope that didn't overwhelm anyone. That is so much how like type A I am. But I get distracted very easily. I have a lot going on in my life and my business. So that is what I do to make sure I keep it all straight in my head. I just went into Canva, go to canva.com. That's where you can create your own templates or you can use templates. Look up things like in their template section, like calendars or even like workout plans. They have this little framework where you can probably make something very similar to mine. Mine was done by, from scratch, but that's what I do to keep all of this straight. So I hope that helps. Millie says, girl, you are goals. I just need a lot of help, Millie. I just need a lot of help. And so I create systems to make sure I stay on track because I know myself. And if you're someone who has a lot going on and you're distracted easily, you need to, rein yourself in. Okay. Millie says, I suck at that. Then I end up overwhelming myself. Well, having this written down really helps me with the overwhelm. I literally sit down, guys, and I will take 2 to 3 days looking over my business and deciding what I want to do over the next 12 months. And then I break that down into my quarters. So I take the time purposely on my calendar to do this. Also, like one of my blocks on my theme workdays calendar is an admin and planning day. So on admin days, I may be like, doing, profit and loss expenses and all that stuff and making sure that's all entered in. But I also review my goals or the overall goals, the benchmark goals, what I'm focusing on this quarter. I really recommend that you glance at it every week though. But I do a deep dive once a month. What's working, what's not working? Where am I at on this plan? And does anything need to shift or change? Okay. So it's important to put planning time on your calendar every month. But when it comes to this big stuff, what I'm trying to lay out for the next 12 months, it take a few days, 1 to 3 days, depending. Okay. But again, when you're doing like this 12-month or quarterly planning, you can do this at any time. You don't need to wait for January 1 to do this. You don't. You can change your life, your business any day, week, hour, whatever. Don't let what everyone else is doing and tricking you into this whole mentality, new year, new me thing. Think that you can't, don't let that hold you back. Because oftentimes what I see is when it comes to October, people say, oh my gosh, I didn't get XYZ completed. You know what? A new year's coming in a few months. I'm just going to let it go and I'll focus on it after January 1st. Do you know how much time we waste when you start adding that up if you do that every single year? Guys, we have a limited amount of time on this planet. We lost someone else that we know last night that's our age, that's left this world too soon. We've lost a few people this past year unexpectedly. Your time is limited. Live life to the fullest. Live your life and your business to the fullest. Don't put off things. Utilize the time that you have here. It's not infinite. Okay. Do I have any questions, any comments? But that's it, guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope I didn't overwhelm you by showing you all my little charts that I make for myself, but that's what helps me to be successful. I try to keep things simple for you guys because I don't want to overwhelm you, but you can take that as far as you want. You know, you don't have to make those little charts. That's just literally, this is what I literally set out in front of me. I didn't have it here in the office because I've been working on this. So I was actually working on it in the living room, but I have these 3 sheets of paper in front of me at all times, whether it's on my desk or it's up on the wall, and that keeps me straight. I look at that every day before I get started so I know what I need to be working on today so I'm successful in my business. Okay? All right, guys, let me double check and make sure I don't have any comments here. All right. I'm going to put some polls in here so that you guys can help me or help to choose what we're going to talk about next. I have a whole list of stuff that's related to profitability, productivity, and I just want to hear from you guys what you'd like to hear about first. Okay, Keith says, great job. I use whiteboards on the wall. Yes, let me tell you guys this too. I forgot to mention this. Millie, what else I use, because you'd asked about my systems. I also have back behind here, I have a full 1-year calendar on my wall that is framed. It's just, the frames are nice, but I think I got these at Target. So you can get a glass framed, you know, or you can have just, I think this is like plasticky plexiglass, or I don't know what it is, but it's cheap, but it looks nice. But with that yearly calendar, I have wet erase markers that I use so I can write on it. I have little tabs that I use that will mark when I have sessions. I always, before the next 12 months starts, I always look at my calendar and I put whatever is on the calendar first. That is weddings, that is sessions, go ahead and put that down. I secondly put any family commitments that I have down. Thirdly, vacation. If you do not get your time off on the calendar, it will not happen. We've got 2 businesses that we run out of this house between my husband and I. If we don't get it on the calendar, it does not happen. We were terrible about that last year. We're trying to work on that this year. So I have a full 12-month calendar on the wall, so I have a quick reference there. I also have a 3-month calendar next to that on the wall. It's also with, it's a blank calendar. So it is also a wet erase board, or that's how I have it set up as, so I can put down what my success standards are, what my benchmark goals are. So I have everything right in front of me. I'm a visual person. I need that help each and every day. Again, that might be over the top for some of you, but that's all the tools that I use visually to keep me on track. Okay. Corey says, I have narcolepsy and some days my memory is basically non-existent. I swear I have whiteboard everywhere. The one in my office is 4x8. I swear by them. Oh, that's tough, Corey. That is tough. I have huge issues with sleep. That is not the same thing. So I'm not trying to take away at all from what you go through. But sleep issues and things like narcolepsy, that directly affects our memory, our focus and attention. So I'm glad that you're finding ways to work around that and systems that work for you. Guys, we're all different. We all have different brains. We all have different health situations. So it's important that if you try something, you know, give it a good 90 days. If it doesn't work for you, try something else, okay? Or try it in a different way. I've seen things, like I was talking to you guys before about the Pomodoro technique, and that's where you set a timer for tasks, and the way that it was set up wasn't working for me. And I just tried it in a different way, and I all of a sudden had a massive amount of success at getting things done. And it's just sometimes a matter of tweaking things that fits you, your personality, and your brain best. And there is nothing wrong with that, okay? So don't get frustrated if you try something and it's not working for you. All right, guys, any other questions or comments? I'm going to probably sign off of here and go lie down. Migraines stink, but you just do the best you can. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great next 12 months, and I will talk to you soon.